Every day I get to it. Had to get rid of my shortcomings, now I'm cruising down this boulevard of broken dreams. Halfway double standards and crooked schemes. Designer clothes, but I can see them broken seams. Now I'm playing a different game, nothing was the same. Hustle hard for this bread, never been for the fame. Ducking lames, teaching how to eat healthy and properly get them gains. And you shouldn't throw your money down the drain. Flexing jewelry to me and subpar housing, that's outstanding. Congratulations, and I say it loudly, but you played yourself. It's the Rich Decisions Social Club podcast. We're coming at you from downtown Visalia. The Make It Happen Captain, the Getting Paper neighbor. Let's get to it. Inspire your desire, and my passion is my fashion. With more than I need, excessive rations. We right here right now. We talking about how my man's sweater just grabbed my eye, and these certain things, you know, if you can come up with a concept, we talk about concepts and shit. We just start talking shit. You recording already?
Yeah.
Okay, look, hey, right now, me and my man Jonathan here. We just shooting, Get Rich Decisions podcast, Get Rich Cuts. You know what it is, the Make It Happen Captain, the Getting Paper neighbor. But I was telling my man right now, he walked in with this sweater that might be one of the dopest sweaters I've seen. And maybe, you know, I'm biased. Right. You know what I'm saying? My man Jonathan. So I'm telling him, like, things like that, you can come up with a concept that'll grab people's eye real quick and resonate with them. The reason it resonated with me, because first of all, the color, it's a dope color, that thin mint color. Kind of reminds me of, like, you know, the Cookies brand or something. And then on top of what resonated with me, it was my hometown. It said Visalia, California, wrapped across his chest. And that's going to resonate with people. You know, your hometown, you know, I live in my hometown. This is, you know, downtown Visalia. We here right now. You know, we're right here at the Rich Decisions Social Club. For those that you don't know.
Let's show it real quick.
Yeah, show the people. Show the people. There's the man, the myth, and the legend. You know.
Rich. That was a good one.
Right. And it's not to be boastful or anything, people, because, you know, one time I heard somebody tell me, they were like, man, you must be full of yourself. And I was like, why is that? And they were like, because you got yourself as the fucking, as the logo, you know what I mean? And I was like, and then they were sitting right here, they were one of some of my new clients. And they were like, hey, you got a picture right there yourself, you know? And I was like, first, I think, for as far as the logo, I feel like I did the logo myself because this is what I told them. I thought about it. I was like, why did I put myself right there, right? That's the only, that's fine. That's the only person that I'm willing to bet on these days.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta be confident.
You gotta be confident
about yourself and what you do, right?
Whatever it is you do, right? Even like, you know how people bet on sports? Like, that's a big thing right now, like sports book and all that.
And some people do make money off of it.
People make money off of it. Like me personally, I feel like it's gambling, and I don't even like to gamble at Tachi. I still go to Tachi, but you know what I do when I go to Tachi?
What do you do?
Bowling, watch a movie.
Because they got all that new stuff there now.
They got all the new stuff. And we're not sponsored by Tachi or nothing. But shout out to my natives down, you know, Tachi is love. But, so I don't like to gamble. And I feel like when you gamble on something, you got to be willing to have fun. If you know, if you lose it, it's whatever, right? Yeah. Or you got to have the thought process of like, I know I'm going to win. I like to have that thought process, right? Like if I feel like, you know, some people like your let's say your team is the Niners. You know, they're doing great. Shout out to all my Niner fans. You know, I'm a Raider till death of me. But shout out to all my Niner fans. You know what I mean? You watch football like that?
Yeah, I watch the Niners.
Hey, see? Shout out to all the Niner fans.
Yeah.
We love the Niners. I got San Francisco tattooed on my arm. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I seen them.
Yeah. So, but I'm a Raiders fan, like I said. But, you know, shout out to the city. You know, San Francisco, California, it's love too. You know, we grew up in the Bay and stuff. But back to the, you know, gambling.
Yeah, so anybody out there, if you got something that you want to get going on, or you got a plan, execute it, and just do it. How we've been saying these past couple days, just do it. You gotta
bet on
yourself.
We're
right here betting on ourselves, hoping that you guys like this.
Exactly. And even if you don't, like let's say people don't like your product, that's okay too.
You're right.
You know what I mean? You can't not like
As
somebody.
long as you give it your all
Yes,
and
you
you
gotta
try your best, that's all that matters.
say it with your chest. You gotta
Yeah.
be willing to do that, you know, because if you're not willing to do it for yourself, who gonna do it for you?
Yep.
Nobody gonna do it. I don't know
Nobody.
about you guys, but I don't really have nobody to just take care of me like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I say you guys, we talking to the people watching. But you know, because not everybody has somebody that can take care of you if you just stop, right? And even if you do stop, you just gonna be right where you at. So we might as well keep on going and keep on pushing and striving and trying.
Right.
And that's all we can do, right? Try every day.
But you know what they say, it takes a village.
It does.
And you can always reach out to people.
Yes.
Hopefully you can for the better.
Yes. Why the screen turn off?
It's fine. It's still recording.
Oh, okay.
I think it just does that for
Yeah.
to
Save the
power.
battery, yeah. No, you're right. It does take a village, but unfortunately sometimes
Not everybody has a village.
we don't always have a village. But if you're fortunate enough to find yourself within a village, and especially a village that's willing to help push you and you push them, that's a blessing, you know, and be with the villagers. You know, there's too much Indians, not enough. Too much chiefs, not enough Indians these days. You know, we all got to be willing to play our position.
Yep.
You know, not everybody has to be the boss or the chief or the, you know. Personally, I consider myself, I'm just a politicking Indian. You know what I mean? A native we native to the earth. You know, we all one people. Whether you light skinned, dark skinned, you know, polka dotted or anything like that. We all made of a heart and soul and blood, and we all bleed if you cut us, and you know we all cry sometimes and get hurt sometimes and feel strong, and hopefully we feel confident sometimes too. You know, like we were talking about that confidence, because confidence is key.
And it's okay to be corny and confident.
Hey, you heard that? My boy, that's
Right.
what I said. We were
one.
talking that conversation yesterday or the day before or something like
Yeah.
that, where we were saying corny and confident. Sometimes I like to be a little corny, you know. Sometimes I like to, you know, I make jokes, you know. We're just straight like, "How you doing?" You know what I mean? That might not be the, you know, most serious thing to say, but you know, we corny and confident. You say, do everything you do. If you're gonna do it confidently. If you're gonna be corny and confident. You know, because life's too short, and you gotta laugh sometimes. You know, it's look how serious life is.
It's serious.
Life will beat you up sometimes, but sometimes you gotta be like, hey, I got my licks in though. He said, yeah, I might look bad, but you should see life's fists. Because they've been beating us up now, but life is a blessing. I consider life a blessing. I get on my knees every day and I say a prayer. Every morning I wake up, I put a yoga mat underneath my carpet in my room, so when I get up, I don't got no excuse. All my knees hurt. That was an excuse of mine sometimes. I like to pray sometimes not on my knees because it hurt. No, I humble myself, put myself on my knees, and say a prayer. Even if I'm in a hurry, sometimes, you know, you wake up late.
Yeah.
I wake up late sometimes, and I still like, that's not the creator's fault I woke up late. I chose to, you know. So I still make it a point to get at least like a 30-second prayer in, even if it's just, you know, thank you, Father, for another wonderful day. It's beautiful, and guide my hands and guide my thoughts and guide my actions and be with my loved ones and forgive me for my wrongs. In your merciful Son's name, I pray to you, Heavenly Creator. In your name, let the TV down. Bye, get to it. Take a shower and like Superman in a phone booth. Turn around a couple times, then you're this guy looking at you. But you know, we're doing a podcast, man. This is episode 1. We're gonna do a real episode of this. How you feel about that, Jonathan?
I feel good about it.
I feel great about it. I feel like we've been in the making for a long time. How long we been talking about it?
You've been talking about it for a long
You gonna
time.
throw me under the bus, Jonathan? Throw me under the bus, Jonathan.
This is Rich's.
Yeah, it's not. Hey, brings me to my next subject.
We'll see who brings in next.
Yes, I want to have a little bit of everybody. I want to have, you know, somebody that's, you know, happily married with a family, doing well. I want to have my single folks give us both their perspectives. I want to talk to the man that's, you know, a doctor and climbed his way to where he's at today. And I want to talk to the man that's, you know, has health risks and we need to figure something out. I want to see both perspectives, hear both perspectives, and learn from both
So
perspectives.
let's talk about you. What made you do that for yourself?
Do what? I'm sorry.
Um, how would you say it?
Like, kind of get to where I'm doing
Yeah.
what I'm
What
doing.
made you make that step to better yourself?
Man, I would say I've thought about that a lot, right?
What made you? What was the turning point for you
I
that you
think
think?
a big turning point for me was like I realized when I was, you know, 18 years old, I was, living a life that probably wasn't the best life, and I got into some trouble, and I ended up in the county jail for something that I feel like was completely 100% not my fault. Right? That's how we all feel,
And that's
right?
what everybody says.
Yeah, everybody say that.
It's
Everybody
not
say
their
it's not
fault.
my fault. It's not my fault. I really feel that way, right? But so when I was in that county jail, I did like a month in the county jail, right at 18, and all I could think was like, God, I'm not supposed to be here. You know me, like I'm not. I don't even do stuff like this.
Right.
And I heard God answer me, right? I heard it clear as day. He said, "Son, I know you're not supposed to be here for this, but you're supposed to be here." You're lucky you're not here for what you're supposed to be here
Yeah.
for. You know what I mean? Because you'd be here for a lot longer.
And
You
for a
know,
lot worse.
and a lot worse, right? So I was like, okay, I shut up. You're right. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And
It happens for a reason.
it happened for a reason. While I was in there, I was cutting hair. I had to learn. We had a pair of clippers in there, right? I'm a barber,
Yeah.
right? So I was cutting hair already. I started cutting hair when I was a little younger. But when I was in there, they had the clippers, so I was like, okay, cool, using the clippers and kind of doing my thing in there. And then the clippers went out. This is just a funny story. Dude they tried to make a tattoo gun out of the clipper, and fire! Thing just sparked off. And whoa, big old flash. We ain't had the clippers no more.
Damn.
And the COs, they told the CO, like, hey, man, the clipper broke. And he's like, yeah, that's what you guys get, trying to make something out of it. I know what you guys are doing. Now you got to be without clippers for a while. We'll get you another pair, and we don't know soon, but hang tight. So now the rest of the time I was in there, we didn't have clippers no more. Because somebody's smart idea was to try to make a tattoo gun out of it. God bless them people, no shade to them. But, because, we got to do what we got to do to try to survive. They was in there doing tattoos for money. No, it wasn't even money. You don't got money, but in there, your soups and
For food.
yeah, food and stuff. He's gambling and everything in there, right? So that's what I started to do. I learned how to do a haircut with just the razor blades, man. I would get the regular, razor blade, and I'd shave them down for the skin fade. And I'll get another razor and break it open, get the little blade, and hold it against the comb, like the little regular black combs. And you bust the fade down with that that's your guard, and then you use it to cut the top down whatever you needed to. However, the angle you hold it. So basically, I got good at doing that. And talking to a gentleman in there, the gentleman was like, he was running the Bible study in there, and when you locked up, you try to get close to God, man.
Yep.
What do? We use God as a 911 call sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to be too close to God, and then when you get in trouble, you call God. I'm in trouble, God. I need help. Please help me. You know what I mean? But I remember a guy in there too. On a side note, I remember a guy said in there, we got to stop using God as a 911 call. And that stuck with me too. That was something that stuck with me my whole since then. But so yeah, I was cutting to I was talking to the guy who would run the Bible study though, and he was like, I see you do haircuts. You want to cut my hair? Oh, for sure. And then though in there I was charging the 2 soups and 1 extra thing for a haircut. So it'd be 2 soups and whether it be a soda or a chips or a candy bar or something. You know what I mean? 2 soups and something.
Well, that's good.
Right? And that's that's kind of
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And I had my little kit. I had a kit full of just goodies in there. So we were living good. And I didn't spend none of my own money in there. Because I was like, these people that locked me up for some bull. You know what I mean? They ain't getting none of my money,
Yeah.
And So that's how I would get my little extra food and stuff with haircuts. And a little bit of gambling. You know what I mean? Look, we had made some. I made some dice out of. And this is not to promote any type of negativity, people. I hope let that be known right now. This is. I hope none of you guys ever do any crimes that's gonna get you arrested. I hope I never do any crimes that's gonna get me arrested. Okay, this is not to promote crime life or try to make jail look glamorous. Because I learned at that moment I don't ever want to go back. Even though I had some good experiences in there, I try to make every experience of my life a learning experience. So, real quick, not trying to promote any negativity.
That was the learning experience.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. But so back to how I started cutting hair. Like seriously, the man asked me that did the Bible study basically like, hey, cut my hair, cut his hair. While I was cutting his hair, he was like, "What are you gonna do if you get out of here, Rich? What do you plan on doing if you get out?" And that word "if" didn't sit well with me. I was like, "Man, hold on. If you mean when? Because I'm getting up out of here. I ain't even supposed to be here, for this." And he was like, "Rich, I don't think you understand what type of place you're in right now. This isn't the type of place that you for sure getting out of."
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? It hit me. Bye. I was like, damn, he's right. You know what I mean? Like, and then he kind of went, I'm cutting his hair, so we're just having a conversation. Anybody that's had a haircut with me, we'd be sitting here talking and just, sharpening each other. As iron sharpens iron, mankind shall sharpen mankind. I got that tattooed on me. Proverbs 27:17. That's the type of stuff I would rather promote. Positivity instead of negativity. But so he was like, yeah, if, he's like, because in here, right, he's like, what's to say that something doesn't happen to you in here, that you get into trouble? Let's say somebody try to fight you in here, and you fight, you protect yourself. Let's say the man fall, hit his head, and dies. That might be the reason why you in here right now, But
Yep.
but if that happened while you were in here, and he dies, you ain't leaving.
Because a lot of people do try to test you in there.
When you're in jail, you think you're the baddest guy or the baddest woman or the baddest whoever you are, you know what I mean? We always, especially when you're young, you think that you know it all.
Yep.
The older and wiser you get, what are you going to say, Jonathan?
It could all be so much simpler if you make it that simple.
Oh, yeah, life could be so simple if you just think about it a little simply. But they say, it's a saying, they said, the younger you are, the dumber you are, the more you think you know it all. The older you get, the smarter you become, the more you realize you don't know much. No matter, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so the man, he was just like, so what are you gonna do if you get out? What are your plans? And I was like, well, I really don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't really, know anything about, what I'm saying, this and that. And he was like, well, you looks like you know about cutting hair. You cut hair, do you like cutting hair? And I was like, yeah, I do. I actually enjoy cutting hair. To this day, I still do. I enjoy my job, man. I don't like to work, but I love my job. But so yeah, I was like, I like cutting hair. So he said, why don't you become a barber? Go to barber college. Hey, word to God, I never heard of barber college.
So he's the one who told you?
Yeah, he the one who told me.
Crazy.
They were doing it in jail, right? And I don't remember your name. If you're listening to this, God bless you. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to me. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. You meet a lot of people in there. I was in a pod with like 50 people most of the time I was in there. You know what I mean? So, and they came and went too. People in and out. But yeah. So he was like, go to barber college, and I was like, I don't even. You have to go to college to be a barber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought you just, it's like a job. Like you go in there and give an application or something, and they, like McDonald's or wherever, And he was just like, nah, like you got to go to school for it, and then you got to go take a state test. And I was like, oh man. So I did when I got out. I started looking up barber colleges, and I had just moved back to Visalia, so there was no barber colleges here at the time. There is now. Shout out to my dude Fredo at East to West Barber Academy. Is my guy for a lot of years. That wasn't around at that time. We didn't have a barber college. The closest barber colleges we had at that time was Bakersfield and Fresno. And
Which is an hour away from here.
That's an hour from here, right? So imagine
an hour there and an hour back.
and you have to be there at 8 a.m. 5 days a week until 5 p.m. 5 days a week. So imagine you got to drive there an hour at traffic hour, and then drive back at traffic hour. I was like, nah,
Yeah.
that's a lot. You know what I mean? To cut some hair, and then on top of that, you know, I started looking at cosmetology schools. I was like, let me see the cosmetology schools. Here at that time, we had two cosmetology schools that I knew of. It was Marinello's, which they closed now. That was over there on Mooney. You remember that?
I haven't heard of that.
Okay, it was on Mooney. I think it's like a dentist office or something like that now. Might be a bank or something. I'm not sure. But Marinello's, they were charging like 24,000.
Damn,
You know,
that's a lot.
like, damn, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And then there was Milan, which Milan is still there. Excuse me. Milan was charging like 20, a little like the same, you know, if not a couple of $1,000 less. I think it was like 22 or something for them, you know.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, I don't want to go into debt like that to fucking cut. I mean, excuse my language. For the hopes to be as have a job cutting hair. You know what I mean? Because it's not even for sure. Anybody watching this right now, this job is not a for sure job. You don't get a check at the end of the week. You get bills at the end of every week. You know what I mean? Every day depends on how you have your booth rent set up and all that.
Or insurance.
Yeah, I mean, I have insurance. You know what I mean?
Gotta pay for it.
You gotta pay for it yourself. You know what I mean? This comes with a lot of you have to do it all yourself. You know, and even regular jobs though, you have insurance that it'll come with it, but you have to pay for that too. It comes out your check. That don't just come because they're nice people. You know what I mean?
You're right.
That comes, you paying for all that too. They do it for you though. They take it out and pay it and all that. And with this, you gotta actively seek all that stuff out yourself and keep. That's why I tell people too. This is hard. It's like sometimes I feel like the ringleader of a 3-ring circus, and you got to make it all work, and it's kind of hard, you know. And I appreciate my loved ones that help me keep everything in order, and I appreciate all my clients that help support me, including you. Appreciate you from the bottom,
Appreciate
brother.
you, bro.
Yes, sir. But where was I? We get sidetracked. I get sidetracked. We're long-winded. We like to hear ourselves talk. They say.
Yeah.
Nah. I've always had a problem, even in school. Anybody, my teachers, if it just ever gets to anybody, they all remember. Just my classmates, they all remember. I was a talker. I think I was ADHD before ADHD was a thing. But back to the barber. So I went to those spots that were charging a lot. I kind of got discouraged. I was like, I don't want to pay that much, right? I don't want. That's a lot of money to hopefully have a job, right? And I kind of fell back from it because I was like, man, that's too much to gamble on. Back to gambling,
Yeah, back in that day too.
Yeah, back in that day, that's a lot of money. Right now, that'd be even more, Cause that was like 09, 010, you know what I mean? So that was a lot of money, man. And so I was talking to some of my people, and I told them kind of what I was going through. Hey, did you end up going to school for that? And I'm like, nah, it's kind of too expensive and too far of a drive for the barber, so. And I told them about the cosmetology classes, and they were like, "Oh, have you tried Estes out over there on Main Street?" And I was like, "What?" Shout out to Estes, shout out to Don Estes. Appreciate you as well. Everybody, all my classmates and teachers. If anybody's watching this, shout out to you guys. So I was like, "Nah, I didn't even know we had a cosmetology school right there on Main Street." Went down to the cosmetology school and. Ask questions, you know what I mean? And they were like, it was 13,000 at the time. So I was like, okay, man, that's still a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's still a fucking lot, but way better than
20.
You know what I'm saying? Than the low 20s. It was 22, 24 in the other spots. So I was like, damn, I mean, it's still a lot, but that's like half. You know what I mean? Like, we might could work with that. And they were like, yeah, so went that route. I just said, gamble. Sometimes you got to gamble. Remember I said the picture? That's the man I'm still willing to gamble on. It's the only man I'm still willing to gamble on. Other than that, we just keep faith and everything. We gonna keep faith. It's like gravity, you don't have, you expect gravity to take care of you. I know God's taking care of me, but yeah, I did it. Went to cosmetology school. Did a year. Went and did my testing. I failed it. I was like, that's discouraging too. But and even that, back it's crazy. This is a side story. We just talking, right? So back then, you had to actually go to a location, right? You had to go to either Fairfield, which is Northern California, or Glendale, which is Southern California, right? And the first time I went, I was like, man,
For the test?
yeah, for the test,
Oh,
you had to
damn.
drive all the way out there, and you had to be like at the facility at like 7 a.m. So, and not only that, this is crazy. Like
Wow.
I'm gonna say this because it's crazy how times change.
So you went twice?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I did the barber one too. So really like 3 times. You know what I mean? Really like 4 times. I failed the fucking barber one again too. You know what I mean? Like I had failed that one and go back and take it. Well, I failed half. I failed like the written part. I passed the written. I failed the practical. And I failed the practical because time is hella fat. You gotta like. And I was trying to sit there and do everything perfect. But so like when I went to go take the test, you had to have a physical uh like a client basically,
Wow.
like I forgot what they call like a patron or something.
Hmm.
Um you had to have a physical person with you, and that person had to they had to have no felonies on their record,
What the?
and they had to, have availability to go with you, you know what I mean? They had to have a valid California ID or driver's license. And it was like at the time I didn't really know a lot of people that could fit the criteria. Everybody I knew was felons, excuse my language, was you know either felons or they had a life. They couldn't like, okay, I'm not gonna take a day or two off of
Yeah, they
work to
were
go
working.
to. Yeah, they got jobs and families and stuff. Um, so I ended up for the barber. I remember one of my buddies. My buddy Albert. Shout out my dude Albert. You watching this at all, man? Shout out to you. I appreciate you. My boy Albert was like, "Why don't you take my boy?" I forget his name too. Shout out to you. I forget his name. He was like, "Why don't you take my boy?"
Wow. So he went with you all that way?
Yeah, well, so I was like, well,
That's
tell him, is he down,
insane.
And he was just like, I asked him, and he's, I'm pretty sure he'll be down. So he hits him up, and he is like, yeah, he's down, bro. So I
Wow.
told Albert, I was like, man, come with us too, though, because I'm gonna take, the woman I'm with right now, and uh, so let's go together, like, and he was like, all right, I'll get you guys a room. I got them a room. I got us a room, and
Wow.
it was cool. We made a trip out of it. You know
That's
what I
cool.
mean? Yeah. And actually, that's the one where I failed. I passed the written, I failed the practical. So I was like, damn. It was a long drive home. You driving there, you happy. You drive back, you just like, But I went back and passed it, and again, like I said, my boy Fredo, man, shout out to you because I remember when I failed it, he was, I was real downtrodden. That
And
feeling
you
of
knew him back then?
yeah,
Too?
yeah, yep. I met him like around that time when I went to cosmetology school in Estes. That's how I met Fredo. Um, but so I was downtrodden driving back, and I didn't even want to answer his call. He was calling me to like, did you pass? And I was like, man, nah. I didn't even answer him at first. He hit me up, man, what's going on? And I finally hit him back like, I failed, man. Like, you know, uh, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. He's like, what do you mean you don't know? You can go take that again, man. You sign up and go take it again. And I was just like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like, but I did it and passed it and stuff. So shout out to all you guys, man. I know we all live our lives and we spread out, and time and space is the killer of relationships, man. But it's all love to you guys. Um, Everybody, man, isn't that crazy how time and space, man? Time and space is, like how many people have you known in your life that you don't even like
A
really?
lot.
A lot, right? It's crazy, man. Shout out to all those people in our lives from our past.
You just gotta appreciate those times
Yeah, it
that you
says
have with those people because they won't always be there.
exactly. It says in the Bible, treat the people in your life like a season, because you don't know how long they're gonna be. You know what I mean? And it's true.
But at the same time, and my boys I'm talking about right now, man, they're still here in Visalia, and we see each other. It's all love, you know what I mean. Um, it's rare, I don't have I really don't have enemies, you know what I mean. So we cool with everybody, man. But at the same time, time and space, appreciate your people, appreciate the times you have with them, appreciate the good, the bad, the ugly. I always try my best to appreciate not only the good, but even the stuff that we look at like is bad. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we look at stuff like, oh man, I wish that wouldn't have happened, or I wish it would have went differently. But even those times, like in our lives, I appreciate all that stuff. I look at the bad stuff in my life, like it made me who I am today. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we need those times. Like I've lived in group homes, bro. I lived in foster homes. I slept in cars. You know what I mean? All before I turned 18. You know what I mean? So like, you
That's a
know,
hell of a ride.
that's a hell of a ride, man. Like I wake up in a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood now, and like I have comforts. You know what I mean? I have loved ones. I have people that care about me. There was once upon a time in my life I was literally like, man, if I died right now, like nobody would even know. You know what I mean? Like before I turned 18. You know what I mean? Like so, man. Like now, I feel like a family is somebody that that they calling you like, what are you doing? Like when you coming home? Like you almost done? Like you know what I mean? Like we hungry. Like you want to go? Like you know what I mean? Like it's like yeah, like it feels good to have people in your life that like got love for you and stuff like that. Especially with Thanksgiving coming. I always tell people Thanksgiving shouldn't just be on November, Jovember 26th or whatever, whatever day it is. And the reason I say that is because Thanksgiving should be every day. I try to have Thanksgiving every moment.